The 1939 New York's World Fair was a pioneering showcase of technology, culture, and innovation. Their mother bought a book for the '64 World's Fair, and inside they discovered 3 prints in the back. There was also a larger poster, about 30 inches tall by 20 inches wide, which was the standard size. The first poster, by Albert Stahl, is significant because it portrays a woman. The woman in the poster is a World's Fair tour guide, distinguished by the official badge on her arm. John Atherton's piece showcases the World's Fair main structures, the Trilon and the Perisphere. These structures were symbolic of progress and modernity and became iconic representations of the fair itself. Next comes an image by Joseph Binder, an Austrian artist who immigrated to America. This winning entry, a pinnacle of American Art Deco, showcases the Trilon and Perisphere with an airplane, train, ship, and stylized spotlights, creating a truly stunning image. They often showcased futuristic designs and bold imagery representing exhibits and attractions. The appraiser valued these small posters.
I would estimate the value on this one at $700 to $1,000, and I would estimate the value on these at $400 to $600. So you're talking about $1,500 worth of small posters for the price of a $10 pop-up book.
In the groovy 60s, our guest Pal in Sacramento was a pop art collector. One day she handed our guest a Warhol Lithograph for just $25 to $30. The print, dated 1965, features Warhol's signature. It was created for an exhibition at the Leo Castelli Gallery. The image showcases hibiscus flowers, characteristic of Warhol's style. Approximately 300 prints were hand-signed by Warhol. Warhol was renowned for transforming everyday objects into art. It is in remarkable condition, with vibrant colors.
It happens to be in very good shape. The colors are as impeccable as I've ever seen them.
There's some staining, but it's reversible. The signature is clear, adding to its value, and it's rated at 9.5 on a scale of 10. Its market value today is estimated at
in the neighborhood of about $30,000 to $40,000.
You're joking.
No.
Oh my God.
The updated value of this exquisite piece now stands between $40,000 to $60,000. Beyond just a game, it's a tale of perseverance, teamwork, and overcoming challenges. Today on the show, we share a segment about baseball, with it being none other than a collection from the legend of the baseball field, whose name will always be linked with greatness, Babe Ruth, an American who is considered one of the greatest sports heroes in American culture, and is thought by many to be the best baseball player of all time. A signed ball that gives you goosebumps with how smoothly the pen strokes flow.
I have a collection of Babe Ruth signatures, also the baseball that was signed by 8 Hall of Famers.
And a version of Babe Ruth's story, initially printed in 1948, just a year before Babe Ruth passed away. It's a biography of one of the greatest baseball players ever, penned while he was alive, which makes it historically important. Famous for his big personality, you can really see it in this hunting picture of him.
It does show him in another light, with a baseball uniform on and a bat in his hand.
What's surprising is how much would these items be worth to collectors and sports fans, considering their origin and historical importance, which provide new insights into the life and legacy of Babe Ruth.
Was there anything that surprised you?
This one.
These sets of silver Demitas are a perfect blend of beauty and functionality. Our guest today inherited this set from her father 28 years ago. These pieces originated from Vienna. These sets comprise a coffee pot, a sugar bowl, sugar printers for the cubes, and, of course, 6 Demitas cups. However, we can observe that one of the sets is missing a stir. Additionally, 2 of these sets are missing their ebony knobs. Upon inspecting the underneath of the coffee pot, we can see a small monogram mark that says WW, representing the Wiener Werkstatt, which translates to Vienna Workshop.
And it stands for the Wiener Werkstätte, which literally translates as Vienna Workshop.
The Vienna Workshop comprises a group of people who came together in 1903 with the sole aim of producing an aesthetic that was purely modern, with an emphasis on quality and craftsmanship. This group was headed by Joseph Hoffman, And it's worthy to note that the items produced by Wiener Werkstatt often come up at auction, and they always attract pretty good interest.
Things by the Wiener Werkstätte do come up for auction quite a lot. When they do, they always attract good interest.
Considering the current hike in the value of silver, and also because that these were made by the Wiener Group, at auction these items would fetch a significant value of...
At auction, it'd be worth something like $10,000 to $15,000.
Wow.
What we have here is a rare and historically significant piece from the late 1800s. A beaded baldrick originating from the Muskogee Creek Nation was presented by the guest. Likely crafted by Creek artisans, it was a gift to the Baptist preacher in Georgia who worked with the Indian missions.
And I don't do Asian stuff. And then I opened it up. Tell me what you know about this.
My ancestor was a Baptist preacher in Perry, Georgia for over 50 years.
The baldrick, a sash worn across the chest and tied at the waist, features intricate beadwork and would have been worn by the Creek chiefs around 1810 to 1820.
I suspect that's why she told you it was from Oklahoma. This was probably made here by Creek craftspeople.
Wonderful.
1810, 1820.
These baldricks are extremely rare, with only a few others known to exist. Most are found in Scotland, where Creek tribesmen sent their children for education. However, this rare piece of the Creek Nation is significant to their culture, and despite some condition issues, its value is estimated to be...
I'll be conservative and say $6,000 to $8,000.
Wonderful.
This incredible charger has been in the Guest family for generations, passed down from his mother. It was acquired by his mother's third cousin's husband in the Far East during the mid-1950s. Its colorful floral design decorating the background is called a millefleur, French for thousand flowers. It is actually a piece from the late 19th or early 20th century.
I've actually stared at this bowl ever since I was about
man.
4 years old. I believe it was on a fireplace mantel.
It also features a central cartouche depicting a phoenix perched on a rock with bamboo shoots surrounding it. The blackbirds with lotus sprigs add another layer of detail to this beautiful piece. The most intriguing aspect, however, is the mark on the back, the reign mark of the Ming Dynasty Minglong Emperor.
It's a Qinlong mark. Qinlong, who was an emperor that reigned in the 18th century.
18th century.
Items from the Qinlong period are highly sought after.
While the design and quality of the charger are very good, the appraiser estimates that at auction, the charger could fetch between...
I would place an auction estimate of $8,000 to $12,000.
The woman lays out a collection of Gone with the Wind memorabilia on a table. At first, the appraiser examines a program and ticket stub from the Atlanta premiere of Gone with the Wind.
Yes, sir.
Well, you got some interesting material, and the first thing we have is actually a program for the original premiere of Gone with the Wind in Atlanta.
But then reveals an even greater treasure, a first edition copy of the novel, inscribed by Margaret Mitchell herself to a Vivian Lattiday. The appraiser emphasizes the warmth conveyed by the inscription, but the real gems of the collection are a series of personal letters written by Margaret Mitchell, detailing Mitchell's struggles with fame after the success of Gone with the Wind.
The letter says it's talking about her fame after she wrote Gone with the Wind and the movie was coming out, how it changed her life.
This letter expresses her surprise and frustration at the constant stream of visitors and requests. At auction, the entire collection could fetch a staggering value between...
If they were to come up at auction, it's $6,000 to $8,000.
Wow.
Yeah? A little bit good, a little bit better for the $400 investment, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
The guest proudly presents a gleaming fire horn to the show. He explains it belonged to his great-grandfather, acquired in 1865. The appraiser takes a closer look and reveals a fascinating backstory.
The actual parade itself was about 20 miles.
He informs the guest that this horn was likely used in a momentous event, a grand march documented by the New York Times in 1865, as the most splendid and imposing organized march of the era.
All the fire companies and firemen that were there at the time would have stretched about 10 miles.
While the exact maker of the horn remains unknown, its historical significance as a potential participant in such a celebrated event is undeniable. The anticipation builds as the appraiser weighs the horn's historical connection and its inherent value as a fire horn. He suggests insuring the fire horn for around
I would say you want to insure it for around $5,000.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah,
excellent.
So it's a really nice piece.
This Weller Coppertone Vase is a remarkable piece with a fascinating story behind its discovery. It was unearthed by the guest mother-in-law while walking through a pear orchard.
Walked right by and it didn't move, so I just swished my foot across it, and it still didn't move. And I told my mother-in-law that I was going to go back to the barn and get a shovel.
To her amazement, the vase emerged without a single blemish, despite being buried for an unknown period. The vase bears the mark of Weller Potter, although slightly blurred, confirming its authenticity and origin.
And I've seen the mark before, so I know what it is. It says Weller Pottery, and that's a kiln with the fire pottery in. So that's from the Weller Pottery from Zanesville, Ohio, one of the more famous companies.
This particular piece is a testament to the craftsmanship of Weller Pottery, known for its high-quality production pieces. Dating around to 1925 to 1930, this vase features the characteristic Coppertone glaze, which gives it a distinctive and captivating appearance. While not a one-of-the-kind artist piece, it's highly valued for its rarity and exceptional condition. The real question is, how much would it sell for?
The last one I sold for $2,800, and I think it's a $2,500 piece and could bring as much as $3,000, right in that price range at auction. So it's really good production piece.
Well, golly, who would have ever thought that you'd dig something like this up and it'd be worth that much?
This rug was purchased by the guest husband's grandparents during a trip to New Mexico and Arizona in the late 1930s or early 1940s. After the passing of the guest mother-in-law a couple of years ago, they inherited the rug. The appraiser identified the rug as originating from the Ganado area of the Navajo Reservation, dating back to the 1930s or 1940s. Despite the usual wear and tear Navajo rugs endure, this particular rug remained in excellent condition. Its vibrant red color, often prone to fading, remained intact due to careful preservation. The rug's pristine condition and desirable size made it a highly sought-after item. Leaving the guest to a delightful surprise, the appraiser valued the rug between...
It's a cool piece, $6,000 to $8,000. That would be in a design showroom or in a really good gallery.
Great, thank you. Wow.
The guest brought an intriguing piece with a story that blends history and family lore. This pistol, part of the collection inherited from the guest father-in-law, is believed to be the same model as the one that killed Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. However, there is no concrete evidence to support this claim. The appraiser explains that while this pistol is not a Derringer, it's made in the same style as the one that killed Lincoln, being a .44 caliber pistol made by Andrew Werflin in Philadelphia during the 1850s and 1860s.
The pistol was made sometime in the 1850s, 1860s.
Okay, we had that right.
Yeah.
Okay.
The pistol features a mark on the top of the lock that reads T.F. Guyon, No, indicating its association with Thomas Guyon, a provider of firearms in New Orleans. Despite some issues with the pistol, its historical significance and collectability among Derringer enthusiasts make it highly valued at...
So, you say your research indicates that it could be worth about $600? So what do you think I'm going to say?
I don't know. You got my curiosity up now.
Even in this condition, I think the pistol is probably worth, at auction, somewhere around $1,500 to $2,500.
Okay, my wife was right. Then I've got to give her credit for that.
Today on the show is a picture of NASA's pioneers that offer insight into a crucial era of space discovery. The guest had gotten it from her aunt. Her aunt, Colonel Pearl Eleanor Tucker, was deeply engaged in aerospace and suggested an aerospace nursing program to the Air Force in 1964, while also helping NASA care for Gemini and Apollo astronauts from 1963 to 1968. The piece offers a first-hand glimpse into NASA's operations during a pivotal moment in history.
Strong swimmers on those boats, of which Pearl did not swim.
Classic yellow menu, decorated with charming duck drawings, was crafted for astronauts to select their breakfast, alongside a captivating depiction of NASA's pioneering astronauts portrayed with vivid detail and striking elegance. These pictures not only capture the physical appearance of these pioneers, but also the intangible essence of their extraordinary accomplishments. they would be valued at.
In reviewing all the material I saw, probably the most valuable pieces being personalized signed things from the astronauts. I would say a value on this entire collection with the album which you had brought in earlier at auction would be $20,000 to $30,000.
This piece takes us through a journey back in time to when Texas was still a republic.
It's a book from the Texas General Land Office of the original title of record.
It was given to the guest by her grandfather, containing carefully recorded details by hand. The faded ink depicts land grants, transactions, and survey specifics. Each page offers a glimpse into the past, revealing an intricate history of land ownership and settlement. Now, yellowed with age, it shows signs of wear and tear along its edges. An exceptionally rare artifact offering unique insights into Texas history.
Marriage to the Houston family. So, but we're not sure, but we got it now.
Yes.
This binding is delicate, with visible creases and cracks, but it still holds the book together. Given its significance as a real piece of history full of meaning and authenticity, bringing to mind the frontier spirit and the development of the Lone Star State, how much would it be worth?
I believe in 1966 or 7, one was valued at about $2,500. And I think now that you could certainly put a comfortable auction estimate of $20,000 to $30,000 on it, and it might be worth significantly more. And I hope you're happy with that.
I'm just shocked.
Oh, all right, well.
Today's piece is a poster from a bygone era of an iconic attraction, given to the guest by a friend.
Was left to us by a friend that passed away a few years ago. When we got it, we rolled it up because our ceilings weren't high enough to hang it.
It portrays an expansive establishment comprising saltwater swimming pools, slides, trampolines, and even an ice skating rink, known as the Sutro baths. Unfortunately, the complex was destroyed by fire in the 1960s.
And it was all salt water. It was filled at high tide. It took about an hour for the tides to fill the pool.
The level of detail and craftsmanship shown in the lithograph is quite impressive. Each line meticulously depicts the grandeur of the Sutro baths, from the intricate details of the architecture to the lively atmosphere of the leisure activities. The paper texture and printing techniques, all from the late 19th century, are also very well done. A famous American poster of its size, offering a glimpse into the lively leisure and entertainment hub of the 19th century, would have an estimated value of...
Last year we sold one in similar condition for $13,000.
Wow.
So I would say an auction estimate of $15,000 to $20,000 would not at all be out of range.
Oh, wow, that's great. Thank you.
That's a big pool of money to dive into.
Yeah.
The guest acquired this set of etchings by Francisco Jose de Goya, originally from the late 1700s. Francisco Jose de Goya was a famous Spanish Romantic painter and printmaker. These etchings, part of the late Caprichos of Goya series, were produced in the 1820s during Goya's self-exile in Bordeaux, France. They were printed on 3 plates, and they are considered rare, with only several lifetime proofs known to exist.
Of the Caprichos that were made in 1799, his first printed images. But he made these in Bordeaux, and he actually made them on only 3 plates.
These plates were eventually acquired by Philip Hoffer, a Boston philanthropist, who had them printed in 1971.
And they found their way onto the London art market, where in the 1930s they were purchased by a Boston philanthropist book collector whose name is Philip Hofer.
The set numbered 96 of 150, and it was made for friends of the Harvard Library.
He had this set printed and published in 1971. So he had them printed by a New York printer whose name was Emiliano Serini.
The initials of both the printer and Philip Hoffer was visible on these etchings. While the individual prints had a wide range of values, the entire set, in good condition, was estimated to be worth between...
I would expect the set, in the condition that you have them, which is very good, to bring between $5,000 and $8,000.
Oh my gosh. You're kidding.
Here's a marble top Semia, crafted from extraordinary materials. This piece belonged to the guest father, who purchased it in 1966. It was originally designed as a 7-drawer chest, or semanier in French. It was used by wealthy women in the 18th century to store their lingerie, ensuring they had fresh garments for each day of the week. This particular semanier is a 19th century copy of an 18th century form, likely made in France.
18th century form. Okay. Semaniers from the 18th century are very rare, and I believe it to be made probably in France. It's a continental piece of furniture.
The semanier features a distinctive honey-colored oak finish, which was revealed after the original paint was removed. One antique feature of the semanier is the presence of a cabinet at the bottom instead of the traditional 7th drawer.
Either side that are carved. It's really just a charming piece of French furniture, evocative of the 18th century, but really a much heavier, beefier form because, of course, in the 19th century, furniture was much heavier.
Additionally, the top is adorned with a beautifully shaped piece of marble, although it does show some signs of damage. Despite this, the piece retains its original charm and character, reflecting the practicality and functionality of the 19th century furniture that's worth at least.
Have you had this appraised before?
I had it appraised recently. It was $4,500, which I thought was a little high.
I would say it's aggressive also. I would say today, if you were driving through Louisiana and you saw a piece like this in a shop, that you would expect to pay in the $2,000 range for it.
Okay.
I mean, it's a wonderful piece. It's honest. It's in its original condition, just short of that refinishing, but it doesn't bother me at all. It's got great carving on it. It's a lovely, charming piece.
Great, thank you.
The beautiful basket belonged to the guest great-aunt, who was a schoolteacher in Alaska in 1935. It's a Tlingit spruce root twindled rattle-top basket from southeastern Alaska, crafted from spruce root fiber and grasses.
It's a mixture of the spruce root fiber and native grasses. And it starts off like a kind of wild wig of twine. And it takes approximately 300 hours to make a basket of this nature.
Tlingit people crafted these baskets to earn money, with coastal women gathering materials in spring and weaving during winter. Intricate decoration is dyed with chemical dyes from the 20th century. Top of the basket rattles, likely due to something inside. The guest thought it might contain seeds. Rattling is soft, ruling out lead shot. The basket is flexible and delicate, often breaking at the seams. It was likely made in the 1930s, and in today's market, it could sell for.
Well, in today's auction market, a basket of this nature would sell for between $2,500 and $3,500.
Wow.
Featured on today's show is an intricately decorated ceramic jug. One notable aspect of this jug is the incised decoration adorning its surface.
See are these coggle lines that are cut into it like this.
And we also observe a seldom seen coggle line that cuts into it in a rather intriguing manner. This piece dates back to the early 1800s. Not many items of such antiquity are well preserved.
Decoration. And the other thing you very seldom see are these coggle lines.
Additionally, there are elegantly crafted bird figures adorning the jug's surface. Moreover, this item is crafted from stoneware, evident from its stony appearance. During the early 1800s, items like this were commonly used to store liquids such as wine, water, and alcohol. Considering its remarkable preservation and elaborate design, one cannot help but wonder about its value at auction.
And the other thing you very seldom see are these coggle lines that are cut into it like this. This is a really early piece, probably around 1800, 1825.
This melodious piece right here is not just an instrument, but a cherished family heirloom. Originally belonging to the guest grandfather, it was passed down as an inheritance to the guest. This guitar represents a significant era in Martin's guitar history, being one of the first modern-style guitars they produced.
Mother passed away about 8 years ago, and it was left to me.
These guitars have a serial number that's stamped on the neck block where the neck attaches to the body.
Made during the Great Depression, it was a relatively expensive instrument at the time, reflecting the craftsmanship and quality materials used in its construction. Despite its age and the number of owners it has had, the guitar remains largely unchanged, retaining its original tuners, finish, pickguard, and bridge.
value of what Martin was selling in 1934. And what makes it valuable is that despite the number of people who've owned it and all the different transitions in ownership, it hasn't really been changed much.
One of the most remarkable features of this guitar is its long scale length, a characteristic that sets it apart from later models. Additionally, the guitar's mahogany construction, while fragile, has stood the test of time. In terms of value, this guitar is considered highly desirable among collectors, and it's truly a priceless piece of musical history with a value of...
So in a specialty retail shop, a guitar like this would sell for probably $15,000, $16,000.
Really? That's fantastic.
So, thanks for bringing it in.
Thank you very much.
The guest grandfather passed on these beloved items to his mother, preserving a treasured family heritage. Let's direct our attention to this exquisite high chest, referred to as a highboy, concealing hidden treasures within. Hidden inside is a cleverly concealed drawer, hinting at its rich history. Made of birchwood, a prevalent material in New England, it is fashioned in two distinct sections.
And then this nice arched balance here, where there would have been probably a drop at one time. And then the legs.
Another piece, known as a lowboy, captivates with its unique attributes. Initially believed to match, its claw legs disclose a separate lineage. Handed down through generations, it bears tales of resilience. Upon closer inspection, we uncover clues to its authentic past, tracing back to the 1720s. The value of the highboy is...
The piece is worth, in a shop with the splice legs, probably about $1,200 to $1,500, okay?
And lowboy's value is...
It's probably worth about $800, but it's priceless to your family.
It is.
The combined worth of these beautiful pieces is $2,000 to $2,300. The guest brought in an incredibly rare and well-documented walking cane, a true gem from the Gold Rush era.
We received it from neighbors who lived across the street from us in the 1950s.
This cane can be traced back to 1855 when it was presented to Enoch Gerst by his fellow citizens of Stockton, California. Stockton, a port city that thrived during the gold rush, provided a fascinating historical backdrop to this heirloom. But the cane's significance extended far beyond its California connection. The cane's flute was crafted from original timber salvaged from Independence Hall during restoration work. Even more remarkably, the setting at the tip incorporated a fragment of the very bell that told the news of the Declaration of Independence. These elements, meticulously documented by the Philadelphia manufacturer, imbued the cane with exceptional historical value. Adding to the cane's prestige was the accompanying documentation, including a letter from the agent who sold the cane in 1855. The confluence of historical significance, perfect condition, impeccable documentation, and high rarity placed the cane in a league of its own, and at an estimated value of...
I estimate the value at $20,000 to $30,000.
Oh, really? My goodness.
The guest brought in a charming desk, believed to be a New England piece from the late 1700s or early 1800s. The origin was narrowed down to Rhode Island, circa 1760, based on the use of maple, distinctive bracket feet, and interior details like the small drawers and stepped design. While the guest thought it could be a child's desk or a salesman's sample, it was indeed a child's desk, possibly crafted by a loving parent. The size and functionality supported this notion, and the well-preserved condition further solidified this theory. The desk is covered by a seemingly modern pine backboard with recent nails. However, a closer inspection revealed a hidden layer of the original chestnut wood beneath it. This restored authenticity significantly enhanced the desk value. While lacking the original brasses, the presence of replacement hardware hinted at the desk's long history. The desk rarity, particularly considering its child-sized proportions, its historical significance, good condition, and Rhode Island origin, places it at a value of...
It's probably worth in the range of $20,000 to about $25,000.
Well, that is a bit higher than I would have guessed.
The guest presented a captivating set of 12 animal figurines, which is quite an intriguing piece. They are actually incense containers, each representing one of the 12 zodiac animals. However, there was a twist. These figurines weren't meant to hold burning incense. Instead, they served as a decorative container for the incense sticks themselves. The actual burning would occur in a separate container. Dating these unique incense holders to the mid-19th century, the auction value is surprisingly at...
For, auction purposes, I would say $6,000 to as much as $8,000.
Really?
Typically commissioned by European nobility in the early 18th century, with such a large scale that originated in China, the size of the vase is captivating. The guest brought in this magnificent porcelain vase, a cherished heirloom from their great-aunt May's house. By the late 19th century, this tradition had fallen out of fashion in Europe. However, Japan, having established trade relations with the West, saw an opportunity to showcase their own artistry. These massive vases, meticulously hand-painted with intricate landscape designs, were meant to impress Western audiences. The vase, although quite large, was actually comprised of two sections. This was because creating such a colossal piece in one go posed the risk of collapse due to its own weight. The two sections were cleverly joined using a small amount of glaze fired in a kiln, providing enough adhesion for safe handling. Unfortunately, at some point in the vase's history, someone attempted to lift it incorrectly, causing the two sections to separate along the existing fault line. This separation did not significantly affect the value. While the vase could be reattached, it wasn't necessary, and the estimated value remained at a substantial.
It's probably worth around $6,000 to $8,000.
This brought in a treasure trove of their father's collection, non-sport cards from the 1930s.
Cards one day, and he said that he didn't have many sports cards, but he had a lot of Indian cards.
These cards, some of the first sold with bubblegum, marked a turning point in how kids collected. Previously, cards came with tobacco products, inaccessible to youngsters. There are fascinating arrays of themes depicted on these cards: Indians, aviators, pirates, Boy Scouts, comic characters, and even war cards reflecting the looming conflict. The collection boasted roughly 500 cards, with a few sports cards thrown in for good measure. Knute Rockne, the legendary Notre Dame football coach, had his own card, likely the most valuable in the bunch. While the condition varied, ranging from excellent to poor, these cards still had historical significance. They aren't just baseball cards, they are miniature time capsules representing American pop culture of the 1930s. The value of the entire collection, including the 500 cards, is around...
I'd say your collection, around 500 cards, is probably worth about $2,000 to $3,000.
Wow.
This lovely miniature cabinet makes its way to the show. It was inherited by the guest from a close friend. This beautiful box is of English origin. The pattern of this decoration is called decoupage.
And these are all tiny bits of cut paper that have then been inked. It's some of the highlight bits you can see in red, and then laid down onto the wood, which has been grain painted.
Most of the grain paintings aren't visible, as they have faded away over the years.
Take out this drawer, we can show on the underside, you've got this sort of swirly red and black decoration.
This decoration imitates rosewood, with pine bottom and beechwood sides. These are typical woods seen on small objects in England. This cabinet dates to around 1810.
And it was probably like a little jewel cabinet, and it would have been kept in a lady's bedroom.
At auction, it's valued at about...
At auction, you'd be looking anywhere from about $1,500 to $2,500. So.
Okay. All right. Wonderful.
Step into the icy embrace of nostalgia with this early 20th century polar bear fishbowl, where even your fish can dream of Arctic adventures. This eye-catching work of art has been in the Guest family for 2 generations, belonging to her grandmother. It dates from the early 20th century to about 1929.
I mean, fish keeping became sort of a popular thing, and the polar bears, that was a very popular theme at the turn of the century. Polar exploration. I mean, there are lots of American.
It's a 3-layered piece with a high-glazed ceramic upper layer. The glass bowl makes up the middle layer, and the bottom layer is made of ceramic. It is probably of Austrian or Eastern European origin.
About that time, there were several factories in Eastern Europe, making porcelain, ceramic, that sort of thing.
It is signed, but very little information on the name is available. The appraiser values it at about
At auction today, we would estimate it in the $1,200 to $1,800 range.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
A figurine acquired by a guest at an estate sale was sought for appraisal. It was identified as a Goldscheider figurine by the appraiser. The company, based in Vienna, Austria, was renowned for its large, colorful figures. This particular item, dating to the late 1920s, exemplified the distinctiveness of Goldscheider's work. The appraiser admired the exquisite painting and Art Deco design. It
geometric designs
depicted a flapper embraced by an Italian figure on a Venetian gondola. Additionally, the figurine exhibited an exotic and romantic style, perfectly captured by Goldscheider. Moreover, the quality of the painting and modeling continued throughout the figure. Despite faint markings on the base, the quality of the work indicated it was Goldscheider. Looking at the quality and market popularity, the value suggested was around
price today would be perhaps as much as $2,500.
Okay, thank you.
From the attic to the heart, antique toys bring nostalgia alive. This 1934 Lionel speedboat makes its way to the show. This toy was a Christmas present given to the guest by his parents. It is in remarkably good shape for a toy this old. This leaves the appraiser amazed.
And I was sort of amazed when you told me that you played with it because look at the condition. It's extraordinary. When you told me that you put it in water, I was shocked.
It also comes with some portions of the packaging box. Here are the instructions heeded by the guest, which have kept the boat in this form. It is made by the Lionel Corporation. The company was famous for its model trains.
As you know, it's clockwork, and it has a very powerful motor. Spins away.
Everything on this speedboat is original and intact. In this pristine condition, it is valued at about
would probably fetch at auction between $1,200 and $1,500.
My goodness, that's unbelievable. It is.
Today on the show, we visited New York City to explore the prized possessions of a successful actor. The actor, Sharon Apatha Murkison, is an American actress who's been praised for her work, earning awards like an Emmy, a Golden Globe, a Screen Actors Guild Award, 4 NAACP Image Awards, 2 Obie Awards, and 2 Tony nominations. She's made it a mission to collect and preserve artifacts that celebrate Black American history, believing it's important to honor the legacy of Black Americans in the United States.
I just love history, and I think this is very much a part of our history and even the negative stereotype.
In the middle of her dining room, there's a poster that she cherishes, a gift from an actor friend who knew she loved memorabilia that celebrates African American culture. The artwork from 1930, called The Brown Skinned Mamas, shows a theater scene with dancing, which reflects the lifestyle of African Americans.
And it also has to do with theater and dance.
And it's no surprise that it's connected to an influential African-American blues singer. Gertrude Ma Rainey, known as the mother of the blues, she connected vaudeville with authentic Southern blues, inspiring many blues singers that followed. And therefore, it establishes a link to a lot of musical, dance, and theatrical history. Given its connection to African-American culture, it is a portrayal of a people's way of life and its cultural importance. This piece would have an auction estimate of...
So I think if this went up at auction, then auction estimate would probably be somewhere between $1,000 and $1,500.
Wow, that's a lot.
If I was going to put an insurance estimate, a retail replacement, I would probably easily put somewhere between $4,000 and $5,000.
Okay, wow.
This collection holds significant historical value, showcasing the heroic actions of the guest father during World War II. Serving as a commander of a flotilla of minesweepers, the guest father played a crucial role in preparing the way for the American landings in Normandy. For his actions, he was awarded the United States Legion of Merit, a rare honor for an Allied serviceman, along with the
to other vessels lying off.
Additionally, the guest father was involved in the evacuation of Dunkirk, where he played a key role in ferrying troops across from the beach to other vessels. The collection includes the framed Legion of Merit and its citation, as well as notes and
This piece here is written orders from his commander.
These artifacts not only represent the bravery and sacrifice of the guest father, but also highlight the monumental events of World War II. While the monetary value of the collection is estimated at...
In this case, the value for the entire grouping at retail today would be somewhere between $5,000 and $6,000.
Okay. I'm not going to sell it. It's going to stay in the family, but...
This pendant and Tiffany diamond necklace is a stunning piece with a rich history. It has been used by 4 generations of women in the Guest family, dating back to the late 1890s.
Grandmother, late 1890s probably, and it's a lovely necklace and pendant that can be changed into a brooch.
The pendant features 2 large old mine diamonds, each weighing about a carat, and surrounded by another 2 carats of diamonds in platinum. Then the chain has stations of old mine diamonds and a marquise diamond, leading to the beautiful pendant. Another feature of the pendant is that it's signed Tiffany & Company on both sides, indicating it was meant to be part of the necklace.
That's how I knew these 2 pieces were meant to be together.
Sure.
It's all platinum, it's all handmade.
Also, the chain is crafted in platinum, and the design is very deco, suggesting a creation date around 1920. Altogether, the necklace is not just a simple chain, but a beautifully crafted piece that adds to the overall elegance of the pendant, which has a combined value of...
For the whole suite, including the other pendant at auction, this would bring $30,000 to $40,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a lot of money.
Yes, it is.
The guest brought a piece of artwork, which he had acquired at an auction. The beautiful item was made by Titus Kapar, who had gained significant prominence in recent years. The appraiser revealed that Kapar's market value had skyrocketed, with his painting selling for millions of dollars. They discussed the artist's early life, from being an art student to achieving widespread recognition.
Titus went to San Jose College and got a BA in 2001. He went to Yale and got his MFA in 2006.
This particular artwork, initially untitled, was later named New Annunciation by Titus Kapar. The college combined an image by the 19th century artist Amory Duval with a depiction of a working woman. The artwork blended religious symbolism with depictions of African Americans, a fusion of traditional and contemporary themes. Considering its historical and cultural significance, the piece was appraised at...
Value for your work by Titus Kapar is about $30,000. That would be a good insurance value.
Oh.
This French Boule cabinet is a piece of furniture from the 3rd quarter of the 19th century. It's named after the remarkable French furniture jeweler André Charles Boule, a famous French cabinet maker and preeminent artist in the field of marquetry. The style of this piece features cut brass marquetry into a tortoise shell, which became known as Boule furniture.
That it was made not only in this era of historical revivalism, but this piece was clearly made for display.
This particular piece was made during a period when France was nostalgic for the late 17th century. Also, the cabinet was designed for display, showcasing ceramics, books, and other items.
They had a mania for display in this period. It's been called a period of ostentatious storage.
However, over time, humidity and heat have caused some damage to the piece. Yet, this piece is still estimated to be worth...
I would think that a piece like this at market today, in this condition, would bring somewhere in the area of $5,000 to $7,000. But that's a great improvement on your $100 in the 1960s.
Yes, it's considerably so.
Meet our guest, who stumbled upon a unique find 25 years ago. It's pottery from the Sequoia Orphans Trading Center, crafted by school children between 1938 and 1943. The guest acquired 3 pieces for a total of $150 at an estate sale. Each piece has a different student signature, such as Klodka, Olivia, and Ada. Each piece is unique in design. The first features a utilitarian design, and the second is a simple but relatively large vase, and the third is a beautiful bending figure. Pieces like these could easily be bought for $5 to $10 in the 1990s, but the guests paid a significant amount. But the rarity of these pieces and the growing interest among collectors have increased the value of this pottery. The appraiser values each piece as...
But I'll start with the one closest to me here. And my guess is it would probably sell between $300 and $500. Now, the middle one is a little larger, but a little bit more simplistic.
Yeah.
So we would say that that's about $300 to $500 as well. It's nice and large, but it doesn't have the elements and the interest that the folded rim piece has. The seated figure on the far side, we think realistically would be between a $600 and $800 piece. So you're, $150 is certainly a good buy for what they'd see today.
The combined value of the three pieces is $1,200 to $1,800.